Today, we're bringing the 25 most haunting legends of Montana back to life. Number 25, Flathead Lake Monster. Flathead Lake, one of the largest natural freshwater lakes west of the Mississippi, is as beautiful as it is mysterious. For well over a century, locals have whispered about a strange creature that glides beneath its deep blue waters. First reported in 1889 by Captain James Kerr and more than 100 witnesses aboard the steamboat U.S. Grant, the creature was described as a massive, eel-like beast with humps, a broad tail, and eyes just above the surface. Native tribes, like the Kootenai and Salish, told stories long before that of a serpent-like water being that lived in the lake and could summon storms or drag people under. These tales were passed down for generations, warning of a creature that lurked in the depths and should not be disturbed. Today, some believe those tribal legends were early encounters with the same creature now known as Flessie, Montana's own version of the Loch Ness Monster. Sightings have continued for decades, especially in the summer months when the water is calm. Boaters and swimmers describe a long, dark shape slithering through the lake, creating ripples with no clear source. Fishermen report strange disturbances in the water, and some say their boats have even rocked as if something large passed underneath. The sightings have drawn curious visitors, though no one has captured solid proof. Whether it's a giant fish, a surviving prehistoric creature, or simply a legend born from awe and imagination, the Flathead Lake Monster remains one of Montana's most talked about mysteries. As the sun sets behind the mountains, locals still keep an eye on the water, wondering what really swims below. Number 24, the Ghost Girl of Bear Canyon. In the hills just outside Bozeman, hikers venturing into Bear Canyon often speak of something eerie. A pale young girl, no older than 10, is said to appear suddenly on the trail. Dressed in old-fashioned clothing with a ribbon in her hair, she is silent, sometimes pointing toward the canyon's deeper woods before vanishing into the trees. Locals call her the Ghost Girl of Bear Canyon, and her appearances have stirred fear and fascination for decades. According to the most common version of the tale, the girl perished in the late 1800s after wandering from a homestead and becoming lost during an early snowfall. Despite search parties and days of effort, her body was never recovered. Some say her restless spirit has stayed behind, endlessly trying to find her way home. Others claim she tries to warn hikers of danger, especially during sudden storms or when trails become unstable. Over the years, dozens of hikers have claimed to see her. Some describe hearing giggles echo through the trees with no child in sight. Others say they felt an overwhelming sense of sadness or urgency before spotting her. A few reported seeing her footprints in fresh snow, bare feet that vanished mid-step. These sightings are often brushed off as tricks of light or imagination, but they keep happening. Bear Canyon remains a popular hiking destination, known for its beauty and rugged trails. But for those who believe in the Ghost Girl, the canyon is also sacred ground, where the past walks quietly beside the present and a lost child's spirit refuses to be forgotten. Number 23, the Heartbroken Ghosts of Sacrifice Cliff. High above Billings, a sheer cliff looms over the city with a story as tragic as it is enduring. Known as Sacrifice Cliff, it is said to be haunted by the spirits of two young Crow warriors who leapt to their deaths after discovering their tribe had been wiped out by smallpox. The legend tells of their grief being too great to bear, and their final act was one of sorrow and honor. Ever since, locals claim their presence still lingers on the cliff's edge. The legend originates from the 1800s and has been passed down through generations of Crow oral history. As the story goes, the two men returned from a hunting trip to find devastation. With no family or future left, they climbed the sandstone cliffs above the Yellowstone River and chose to join their people in the afterlife. Their act was seen not as despair, but as a solemn sacrifice in the name of love and loyalty. Visitors to the site have reported strange sounds, soft chanting, wind that seems to whisper, and even the feeling of being watched. Some claim to see two shadowy figures standing at the edge at dusk, only to disappear when approached. Local tribal members treat the place with reverence, often bringing offerings or speaking quietly when they pass by. Today, Sacrifice Cliff remains a symbol of heartbreak and heritage. Whether one believes in ghosts or not, the story continues to echo through Billings, a reminder of the deep scars left by disease, loss, and memory that still haunts the land. Number 22, Bigfoot. Montana's dense forests and vast mountain ranges provide the perfect hiding place for one of North America's most famous legends, Bigfoot. Known for towering height, massive footprints, and elusiveness, Bigfoot sightings have been reported for centuries across the Rocky Mountains. In Montana, they're especially common in the Bitterroot and Flathead National Forests, where hunters, hikers, and campers have all claimed encounters with something large, fast, and unknown. One of the earliest recorded sightings occurred in the 1920s near the Yak River, where a trapper reported huge human-like prints outside his cabin. In the 1970s, a series of sightings in the Beartooth Mountains stirred media attention when several hikers heard deep growls and spotted a tall, dark figure watching them from the trees. Despite searches and plaster casts of prints, nothing conclusive was ever found. Some believe Bigfoot is a relic hominid, perhaps a type of undiscovered primate. Native tribes in Montana have long told stories of hairy men of the forest, beings that live in harmony with nature but avoid humans. These stories, passed down through generations, often speak of the creature with respect, more spirit than beast, a guardian of the wild. To this day, sightings continue across the state. Whether it's blurry trail cam footage or footprints found deep in the snow, Montana's wilderness keeps the legend alive. For those who wander the woods, there's always the chance that just beyond the next tree line, something ancient and watching still roams. Number 21, the Hitchhiker of Blackhorse Lake. Drivers along U.S. Highway 87 near Blackhorse Lake, just west of Great Falls, often report a chilling encounter. As they drive along the desolate stretch at night, many claim to see a Native American man suddenly appear in the middle of the road. Dressed in old-fashioned clothing and with long black hair, the figure seems real, until the vehicle passes through him or swerves to avoid him, only to find no one there. The legend dates back generations and has become one of Montana's most persistent ghost stories. According to local accounts, the phantom hitchhiker may be the spirit of a man who died after being struck by a vehicle decades ago. Locals believe the restless soul continues to appear, warning drivers to slow down or reminding them of his untimely fate. Some say they've seen him rise up out of the lake itself, soaked and silent. Others have reported more intense encounters, feeling their car jolt as if they'd hit someone, only to find nothing there when they stop. The ghost never speaks, never signals, and never reacts. He just appears, locked in the same eerie routine. His presence has caused panic among even experienced drivers and continues to leave people shaken. Despite the highway being modern and busy, the stories have not faded. People from across the state share tales of this figure, and the legend has become a cautionary tale. Whether it's a wandering soul or a reminder to drive safely, the Hitchhiker of Blackhorse Lake still lingers in the minds of those who pass through on a quiet Montana night. Number 20. Banic Ghost Town. Nestled in the hills of southwestern Montana, Banic was once a booming gold rush town. Founded in 1862, it became the first territorial capital of Montana and home to miners, saloons, and outlaws. But as the gold dried up, so did the town's population. Today, Banic stands as one of the best preserved ghost towns in the West, and not just because of its buildings. Visitors report strange shadows, cold spots, and disembodied voices echoing through its empty streets. One of the most haunted places in Banic is the old hotel, where a young girl named Dorothy is said to linger. Legend says she drowned nearby in a tragic accident, and now her playful spirit is heard running up and down the stairs, laughing and tugging at visitors' clothes. Guests have reported feeling small hands on their backs or hearing giggles when no children were present. Her presence is described as gentle, but eerie nonetheless. Another place heavy with stories is the old schoolhouse. Some visitors claim to hear chalk writing on the blackboard or see books fall off the shelves on their own. A darker presence is said to exist near the Gallows Hill, where several executions were carried out, possibly linked to Henry Plummer, the town's infamous sheriff-turned-outlaw. Some believe his ghost still roams the area, tied to unfinished business and betrayal. Today, Banic is a state park, and its wooden buildings remain mostly untouched, giving it a frozen-in-time feel. But those who visit often leave with stories they didn't expect: cold chills, mysterious footsteps, or a sense that someone is watching. For many, Banic isn't just a historical site. It's a place where the past still lingers, whispering through the wind. Number 19. Little People of the Pryor Mountains. Deep in the rugged Pryor Mountains of southern Montana, stories have long circulated about mysterious beings known as the Little People. Native tribes such as the Crow and Shoshone have passed down legends of these small, powerful beings for generations. Said to stand about 3 feet tall, the Little People are described as fierce, with long hair, deep-set eyes, and magical powers. According to tribal stories, the Little People are not playful fairies, but respected and even feared. The Crow in particular believe these beings taught them wisdom and spiritual strength. Some warriors even claimed that visions of the Little People helped them win battles. Sacred sites in the Pryors are believed to be dwellings or ceremonial grounds for these creatures. However, the Little People are also said to be easily angered. Trespassing on certain lands or disrespecting their presence can lead to misfortune or illness. There are tales of hunters and hikers who ignored warnings and returned from the mountains frightened or changed. Whispers in the wind, shadows at dusk, and strange markings on the rocks are all signs they may be near. Today, some locals and visitors still report eerie sightings, glimpses of small figures darting between rocks or strange lights dancing at night. While skeptics dismiss the stories, the little people remain an essential part of Montana's deeper folklore. For many in the region, these beings aren't just legends, they're guardians of the ancient land. Number 18. The Many Ghosts of Little Bighorn Battlefield. The Battle of the Little Bighorn, also known as Custer's Last Stand, was one of the most famous and tragic moments in American history. In 1876, near what is now Crow Agency, Montana, Lieutenant Colonel George Custer and his men faced off against a coalition of Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho warriors. The clash ended in total defeat for Custer and the U.S. troops, and left behind a battlefield soaked in loss. Today, the site is a national monument, but visitors and rangers alike believe it's far more than just a memorial. Many claim to see ghostly soldiers walking the hills, their uniforms glowing faintly in the moonlight. Some report hearing distant battle cries, galloping horses, or war chants that drift across the prairie even when the land is still. One recurring apparition is said to be a rider on horseback, racing across the field and disappearing into the wind. Others have seen native warriors silently watching from the ridges, vanishing when approached. Park rangers have their own stories, strange voices on otherwise silent nights, sudden cold winds, or odd lights hovering above the fields. Some even say that artifacts occasionally go missing or move on their own. It's as if the energy of the battle refuses to fade, with both the soldiers and native warriors tied to the land where they fought so fiercely. The site serves as a reminder of courage, tragedy, and the complex history of the American West. But for those who walk the hills and listen closely, it also tells another story, one whispered through the rustling grass and carried on the wind. At Little Bighorn, the past doesn't rest easily. It lives on, unsettled, just beyond the edge of silence. Number 17. The Spectral Jogger of Billings. Late at night, near a quiet stretch of road in Billings, some drivers report seeing a lone jogger pacing steadily along the shoulder. Dressed in retro athletic gear and glowing faintly under the streetlights, the figure appears healthy and strong, but oddly out of place. Witnesses claim he runs with perfect form, never acknowledging passing cars. When people stop to check, he vanishes without a sound, leaving only the faint echo of footsteps behind. The stories began in the 1980s, when a local man tragically died during his nightly run after being struck by a distracted driver. Since then, sightings of a runner matching his description have persisted. Locals believe he's still out there trying to finish his route, unaware that his time on Earth has passed. Many drivers who spot him are shocked by how real he appears, until he suddenly fades away before their eyes. Some who claim to have seen him say they felt compelled to pull over, thinking the man might need help. But each time they are met with nothing but silence and empty pavement. A few even describe hearing rhythmic footsteps long after the jogger is gone. While no harm has come to those who've seen him, his presence is said to leave behind a chill, as if the road briefly dips into another realm. To this day, the ghostly jogger remains one of Billings' eeriest urban legends. Whether he's a tragic spirit or simply the product of tired minds late at night, his nightly run continues to haunt the area. For those who pass that quiet stretch after dark, it's a reminder that some routines are so deeply ingrained, they just might follow us beyond the grave. Number 16, Shanka Warin. Long before settlers arrived in Montana, Native American tribes told stories of a mysterious creature known as the Shanka Warin. This beast, described as a large wolf-like animal with hyena features and a terrifying howl, was said to stalk the plains and mountain edges. Its name roughly translates to carries off dogs, hinting at its most feared habit, sneaking into camps and snatching away animals in the dead of night. The legend gained new attention in the 1880s when settlers near Madison Valley shot a strange-looking creature they couldn't identify. With thick black fur, sloped back legs, and an unusual face, it didn't match any known species. The carcass was displayed for years by a local taxidermist who labeled it ringdocus, though it mysteriously vanished sometime in the mid-20th, deepening the mystery. In recent decades, sightings of similar creatures have been reported near the Pryor Mountains and beyond. Ranchers have described hearing unnatural growls and losing livestock without a trace. Some believe the Shanka Warin is an undiscovered predator, a relic from another time, or perhaps something far stranger, something that slips between our world and the unknown. Whether real or myth, the Shanka Warin continues to unsettle Montanans. The legend endures not just because of sightings, but because it taps into something ancient, our fear of what lurks just beyond the campfire's glow. In the wide, wild spaces of Montana, that fear never fades completely. Number 15, Simone at Boulder Hot Springs. The Boulder Hot Springs Hotel, nestled in the shadow of the Elkhorn Mountains, has long drawn visitors seeking relaxation and healing. But behind the peaceful mineral baths lies a ghost story that has echoed through Montana for over a century. Guests have often reported seeing a woman in early 1900s attire wandering the hallways, her presence always accompanied by a sudden chill or flickering lights. Locals call her Simone, a name whispered by staff and guests who say she never truly left the hotel. The legend says Simone was a woman of mystery who met a tragic end at the hotel. Some believe she was murdered on the property in the 1920s. Though no official records confirm her story, guests often hear footsteps pacing in empty rooms or see a shadowy figure looking out from the upper windows when no one is inside. The third floor, in particular, is said to be her favorite spot, and even skeptics admit the air feels heavier there. One chilling account came from a guest who claimed to see Simone standing at the foot of her bed in the middle of the night. The ghostly woman, dressed in a flowing white gown, stared silently before vanishing without a sound. Hotel workers say Simone's spirit is not malicious, more sad than scary, but her appearances are enough to unsettle even the most seasoned traveler. To this day, Boulder Hot Springs embraces its haunted reputation, offering ghost tours alongside spa treatments. Many believe Simone lingers not in anger, but in longing, tied to the place she once loved. Number 14, The Little Girl at Moss Mansion. The Moss Mansion, built in 1903 in Billings, Montana, is a striking red sandstone home that once belonged to the wealthy Moss family. Its grand architecture and period furnishings have turned it into a popular museum. But it's not just the decor that keeps people coming back. Over the years, visitors and staff alike have reported ghostly sightings, especially of a small girl believed to be a child of the family who died tragically young within the house. Tour guides often recount hearing the laughter of a young girl echoing through the empty halls, or the soft patter of footsteps on the polished floors when no one else is around. Some claim to have seen her peeking from around corners, her dress a blur of white lace and her face full of curiosity. It's said she enjoys hiding objects and moving toys, always playful, never mean. One of the most famous encounters came from a school group touring the mansion. A teacher swore she saw a girl in vintage clothing trailing behind the class, only to realize later that no such child had been with them. Another staff member claims to have seen a rocking chair swaying slowly on its own, just after hearing a soft giggle. While some believe it's just imagination or the creaks of an old house, many are convinced the little girl's spirit still lives there, bringing life to a place frozen in time. Whether she's truly one of the Moss children or another soul drawn to the mansion's warmth, her presence adds a bittersweet charm to this historic home. Number 13. Jackaloupe. In the dusty corners of Montana folklore, the jackalope remains one of the most curious and enduring creatures. This mythical animal, said to be a rabbit with antelope horns, has long sparked wonder and laughter. Early settlers shared tales of these horned hares bounding across the plains, especially during lightning storms, when the creatures were most active. The jackalope was described as incredibly fast, elusive, and able to mimic human voices, often confusing weary cowboys and travelers late at night. Though often viewed as a joke, the legend has serious roots in the culture of western towns. Some believe the jackalope is a folk memory of rabbits infected by a rare virus causing horn-like growths. But others swear they've heard their haunting howls echo across the fields, or even seen them watching from rocky hillsides with glowing eyes. Bars and diners across Montana even display fake jackalope heads, each one caught locally. In some small towns, annual jackalope hunts were staged, often for fun, but always with a hint of mystery. Locals claimed the creature was fiercely territorial and impossible to capture. Over time, the jackalope became a symbol of frontier whimsy, blending humor with just enough fear to keep children from wandering too far after dark. Whether you believe it's real or just a clever hoax, the jackalope holds a permanent place in Montana's storytelling tradition. Its legend reminds us that sometimes the most unforgettable creatures are born from a mix of imagination, mystery, and a wild love for the unknown. Number 12. Chico Hot Springs Hotel. Nestled near the Absaroka Mountains, Chico Hot Springs Hotel is known for its soothing waters and rustic charm. But beneath the surface lies a much colder tale. Founded in the early 1900s, this Montana resort quickly became popular among locals and travelers seeking healing from the natural springs. But over the years, strange events began to unsettle the guests. Footsteps in empty hallways, doors closing on their own, and voices drifting from unoccupied rooms. The epicenter of it all seems to be room 349. Locals believe the spirit of a woman, possibly one of the hotel's former nurses or guests, still roams the halls. Some say she died in the building. Others think she returned after passing to keep watch over the place she loved. Guests have reported waking up to the sensation of someone sitting at the foot of their bed, or seeing a misty figure in vintage clothing glide silently across the room. Employees at Chico are no strangers to the unexplained. Lights flicker at odd times, and some refuse to enter certain parts of the hotel alone. Despite renovations and modern amenities, the old soul of the hotel seems firmly anchored in the past. Paranormal investigators who visited the hotel described cold spots, EVPs, and even sudden nausea in one particular hallway, just outside room 349. Chico remains one of Montana's most treasured destinations, a place where comfort and history mix, but also where the line between the living and the dead sometimes blurs. For many visitors, the chance of encountering something unexplainable adds to the thrill. Whether it's the peaceful springs or a ghostly resident nurse, Chico promises an experience you won't soon forget. Number 11. The Glacier Park Shadow Beast. Glacier National Park draws millions for its majestic beauty, but some return with stories far more chilling than scenic. Deep in its valleys and along winding trails, witnesses have described a tall, shadowy creature with glowing eyes, known simply as the Shadow Beast. Unlike bears or wolves, this figure moves with unnatural silence, often vanishing just as it's spotted. The earliest reports date back to the 1930s from park rangers and hikers who sensed something stalking them in the fog. Some describe the Shadow Beast as man-like, others claim it's more wolf or bear in outline, yet all accounts agree. Its presence brings an overwhelming sense of dread. One hiker recalled hearing rhythmic, heavy breathing just beyond a ridge, only to find nothing when he crested the hill. Wildlife goes silent when it nears, and even seasoned outdoorsmen admit the air changes when it appears. Theories vary. Some say it's a spirit from native Blackfeet legends, a guardian of the land warning intruders. Others believe it's a cryptid not yet cataloged by science. A few even suggest it's a ghost of someone lost in the wild, doomed to wander in a shape between man and animal. Whatever the case, its sightings often coincide with storms or heavy mist. The Shadow Beast of Glacier Park is rarely seen, but never forgotten. Visitors still whisper about encounters, and park rangers quietly advise caution after dark. Whether myth or monster, it remains a reminder that nature still holds mysteries we don't fully understand. Number 10. The Werewolf of the Rockies. In the vast forests and rugged slopes of the Rocky Mountains, a terrifying creature has haunted local legend for over a century, the Montana Dogman. Also called the Werewolf of the Rockies, this beast is said to stand over 7 feet tall, with canine features, glowing yellow eyes, and the body of a powerful man covered in fur. Sightings stretch from the 1800s to modern times, and nearly all describe the same eerie details: unnatural speed, deep growling, and the feeling of being watched. One of the earliest encounters occurred in the Bitterroot Valley, where a group of trappers claimed to have seen a huge, upright creature circling their camp. It reportedly left clawed footprints the size of a man's hand and vanished before sunrise. Since then, stories have continued, from hikers hearing guttural howls to drivers spotting the creature darting across lonely roads. What makes the Dogman so haunting is its intelligence. Witnesses say it doesn't just appear, it observes, Some believe it's a spiritual being from native lore, possibly linked to skinwalkers or protector spirits of the wilderness. Others suggest it's a misidentified wolf hybrid or undiscovered species. A few even suspect government cover-ups, given the pattern of reports near restricted zones. Whatever the truth, the Dogman legend continues to grow in Montana. Hunters leave the forest early, and campers often report strange cries echoing through the trees. In a state known for its natural wonders, this legend reminds us that not all things in the wild can be explained or outrun. Number 9. The watchful spirits of the Copper King Mansion. In the heart of Butte stands the grand Copper King Mansion, once home to William A. Clark, one of Montana's wealthiest mining tycoons. Built in the late 1800s, the mansion was a display of elegance and power, filled with marble fireplaces, stained glass, and hand-carved woodwork. But visitors say the beauty of the house comes with a presence, one that seems to watch from behind curtains and staircases, lingering long after the Clark family faded from history. Guests and tour guides have reported flickering lights, moving objects, and soft footsteps echoing through empty hallways. Some claim to hear voices in rooms no one has entered, while others describe cold spots and feelings of being followed. The third floor, once used for servants and storage, is said to be especially active with ghostly activity, as if someone or several someones never left. Among the most reported spirits is a woman seen gliding across the master bedroom and down the grand staircase, vanishing before anyone can get a closer look. Some believe it's Mrs. Clark herself, keeping an eye on her beloved home. There are even tales of a child's laughter echoing from unused rooms, though no children have lived in the mansion for generations. Today, the Copper King Mansion operates as a bed and breakfast, and brave visitors often hope for a supernatural encounter. Whether or not the spirits of the mansion are real, the stories persist, passed down through generations, told in hushed voices during candlelit tours, and always leaving behind a sense of wonder and unease in one of Montana's most famous homes. Number 8. Thunderbirds. High above the vast plains and jagged peaks of Montana, ancient legends tell of colossal birds that once ruled the skies, thunderbirds. These mighty creatures, rooted in Native American oral history, were said to have wings so wide they could block the sun, and when they flapped, they created thunderclaps and lightning strikes that rattled the earth. Many tribes, including the Blackfeet and Crow, believed the thunderbirds were powerful spirits of the storm. Sightings of massive bird-like creatures have been reported for centuries across Montana. In the 1800s, settlers described enormous winged shadows soaring over mountain passes. One 19th century newspaper even published claims of a rancher spotting a bird the size of a wagon perched atop a ridge in the Bitterroot Range. Some believed these were misidentified eagles or condors, but others weren't so sure. In modern times, stories still surface. In 1978, two men near the Missouri River claimed to see a bird with a wingspan over 20 feet gliding silently above the treetops. They described leathery wings like those of a pterosaur. Though skeptics dismissed it, cryptozoologists latched onto the account, calling it one of the most credible thunderbird sightings in the modern era. Whether thunderbirds are echoes of an ancient memory or something more, their legend remains one of Montana's most dramatic. The sky over Big Sky country holds many secrets, and sometimes If you look up during a storm, you might just catch a glimpse of wings beating against the clouds. Number 7. Clara Bicknells' Ghost at Grand Street Theater. The Grand Street Theater in Helena, Montana, is more than just a place for drama. It's believed to be the eternal stage of Clara Bicknell, a former librarian whose spirit never left. Long before the building became a theater, it housed Helena's public library, where Clara worked with quiet passion. Known for her love of books and the arts, she walked the halls daily, tending to the library with pride. When the building transformed into a theater in the 1970s, many thought Clara's time had passed. But soon after the change, whispers of strange occurrences began to spread. Actors and staff reported cold drafts where there were no windows, props moving on their own, and the sound of footsteps echoing from empty balconies. A ghostly woman in period clothing was often seen near the grand staircase, always watching but never speaking. Some believe Clara stayed to protect the building she loved, quietly approving of the creativity that now filled its halls. Her presence isn't frightening, more like a quiet observer making sure the performances honor the spirit of the space. One actor shared a moment when, during a rehearsal, a misplaced script suddenly reappeared on the exact chair where Clara once sat. Another claimed to hear the faint clicking of a typewriter in the middle of the night, even though none had existed in years. These encounters, while mysterious, are embraced by the Grand Street community. They believe Clara brings a protective energy, a kind of spiritual custodian preserving the artistic legacy of Helena. Today, Clara Bicknell is more than a ghost story. She's part of the theater's charm. Her tale is passed on to new performers, reminding them of the building's layered past. Audiences leave not only moved by the plays, but also with a sense that something, or someone, is still lovingly watching from the wings. Number 6. The Puki. Hidden deep in the wooded corners of Montana's wilderness are tales of strange, mischievous creatures called Pukwudgies. While their origin is rooted in Wampanoag lore from the Northeast, sightings and stories of these small, troll-like beings have spread westward over the centuries. In Montana, indigenous stories have mixed with settler accounts, describing eerie encounters with small, gray-skinned creatures who disappear into the trees. Standing just 2 to 3 feet tall, Pukwudgies are said to have glowing eyes, sharp features, and an unpredictable temperament. Locals who've reported sightings describe being followed along forest trails, only to turn and find no one behind them. Campers tell stories of supplies mysteriously vanishing overnight, or fires dying without reason. In one chilling account, a hiker claimed he saw a tiny figure with glowing red eyes watching him from the tree line, only to vanish as he approached. Some believe these beings are guardians of the forest, punishing those who disrespect nature. Others think they simply enjoy playing tricks on the unsuspecting. What makes the Pukwudgie legend so haunting is its persistence across generations and regions. Unlike other cryptids, they don't merely hide, they interact. Some tales speak of them pushing people from ledges or leading travelers off trail with lights and whispers. It's not unusual for sightings to increase after heavy storms, as if the creatures are stirred from their hiding places by the energy in the air. Though they remain elusive, many Montanans believe the Pukwudgie walks among the shadows of their forests. Whether guardian or trickster, its legend reminds visitors to tread carefully and respectfully in Montana's wild places. After all, in a land as untamed as this, you never know who or what might be watching. Number 5. The floating apparition of Montana Ale Works. In the heart of Bozeman, Montana Ale Works is known for craft beer, good food, and ghostly whispers. The building was once a Northern Pacific Railway freight terminal dating back to the 1940s, and some say part of its past never left. Staff have long told stories of strange sounds echoing through the brick-lined hallways, and a few have even claimed to see the same eerie figure, a ghostly woman in old-fashioned clothing, floating a few inches above the floor. She's often seen late at night, gliding silently near the kitchen or peering from the back hallway where no one should be. One cook recalled hearing footsteps behind him, only to turn and see no one there, just a faint chill in the air and the smell of lavender. Some believe the spirit is a former worker, maybe someone who once tended the trains or lost her life in the rail yard. Whatever her story, she's become part of the place's lore, treated with a strange mix of fear and respect. Guests have occasionally reported unexplained shadows or glimpses of movement in their peripheral vision. A few even asked if the restaurant was doing a ghost show as part of the experience, but those who work there know it's no act. From flickering lights to clattering pans in an empty kitchen, her presence is felt more than seen, but it lingers all the same. Despite the mystery, Montana Ale Works remains a favorite stop in Bozeman. The ghost doesn't frighten everyone. In fact, she's become a strange kind of guardian. Staff have even given her a nickname, the Lady of the Rails. She may not make a reservation, but many believe she still visits, keeping watch over the station-turned-restaurant she once called home. Number 4. The Wendigo. Among the creepiest legends to drift across Montana's coldest forests is the terrifying tale of the Wendigo. Rooted in Algonquian folklore and whispered across snowy landscapes, this creature is said to emerge during times of desperation, especially in winter when food is scarce and survival turns dark. The Wendigo is described as a tall, emaciated figure with glowing eyes, sharp teeth, and a hunger that can never be satisfied. Stories from early trappers and native tribes in Montana tell of strange howls carried on the wind and lone hunters who vanished without a trace. Some believed the Wendigo could possess humans, turning them into cannibalistic shadows of themselves. Others swore they saw the beast itself, towering, with bones jutting beneath sickly gray skin, wandering silently beneath the pines. Sightings often came during harsh winters, when the snow swallowed everything and even the bravest avoided the backcountry. Though many modern Montanans shrug it off as myth, the legend persists in isolated towns and snowy valleys. Hunters still whisper about areas they won't go after dark, and families pass down warnings to children. Never follow strange voices in the woods, no matter how familiar they sound. The Wendigo, they say, mimics loved ones to lure victims into the cold. Whether a supernatural creature or a symbol of extreme human behavior, the Wendigo legend still casts a chilling shadow over Montana's wilderness. It reminds us that beneath the beauty of the mountains, something ancient and hungry might still roam, waiting for the snow, the silence, and the cold to return. Number 3. Montana Territorial Prison. The Montana Territorial Prison in Deer Lodge is a stone fortress that once held outlaws, killers, and desperate men. Built in 1871, it operated for over a century, and according to many, it still holds echoes of the past. Though the prison closed in 1979, visitors today say the inmates never truly left. Cold spots, disembodied voices, and even full-body apparitions have made the site one of Montana's most haunted places. Tour guides have reported seeing shadows moving in Cell Block A, where violent prisoners were once confined. In the solitary confinement chamber, called the Hole, visitors often feel a crushing sense of dread. Some say they hear whispers begging to be let out, or feel icy fingers brush their arms. A few have even claimed to see the ghost of a former inmate pacing the yard, eternally trapped in his old routine. The stories aren't all rumors. Paranormal investigators have captured unexplained recordings, moans, footsteps, and distant cries. Flashlights flicker, doors slam, and one notorious spirit, said to be the ghost of a murdered convict, appears near the chapel. His face is rarely clear, but his presence is unmistakable, especially to those who visit alone after dark. Today, the Montana Territorial Prison stands as a museum, welcoming visitors from across the country. But many believe it's more than a historical site. It's a place where punishment lingers and voices from the past still echo through the iron bars. Number 2, Garnet Ghost Town's restless residents. High in Montana's Garnet Range lies Garnet Ghost Town, once a booming mining community, now eerily frozen in time. In the late 1800s, Garnet was full of life with saloons, stores, and nearly 1,000 people hoping to strike gold. But by the early 1900s, the gold dried up, fires ravaged the town, and its residents slowly vanished. Today, Garnet remains one of the best preserved ghost towns in the state, and some say not everyone left. Visitors often speak of strange noises in abandoned cabins, creaking floors, phantom footsteps, and whispers that disappear on the breeze. Some report seeing ghostly figures peering from darkened windows or walking the streets at dusk. One story tells of a piano playing softly inside Kelly's saloon, though no piano remains. Others have claimed to hear laughter or the distant ring of a blacksmith's hammer, echoing from the long, empty shop. The spirits aren't angry, just present. Many believe these are the souls of miners, women, and children who lived and died in Garnet and simply never moved on. In winter, when the snow blankets the ghost town, park rangers say the haunting feels strongest. Faint lantern lights appear in the dark, and shadows move through buildings sealed tight for the season. Managed today by the Bureau of Land Management, Garnet is a popular stop for travelers and ghost hunters alike. The silent streets and preserved buildings create the perfect setting for stories of the unseen. Whether they're real or just tricks of the wind and wood, the spirits of Garnet keep the town alive, reminding visitors that history doesn't always stay buried. Number 1. Virginia Slade's Ghostly Ride. In Virginia City, once the lively heart of Montana's gold rush, one ghostly legend continues to rattle through time, the tale of Virginia Slade. Known for her fierce independence and frontier spirit, Virginia Slade was the wife of infamous lawman Jack Slade. After Jack was lynched by vigilantes in 1864, Virginia refused to leave the territory, and legend says she never truly did. Locals believe her spirit still rides the streets in a horse-drawn buggy, dressed in black, searching for justice, or perhaps her lost husband. Visitors have reported hearing the clatter of hooves late at night, only to find no tracks in the dirt roads. Others have glimpsed a veiled woman watching from upper windows, or gliding silently near the old courthouse, where Jack's fate was sealed. Her story blends sorrow and strength. Virginia defied the chaos of the frontier, running a saloon and standing tall in a time when few women did. Her deep love for Jack, despite his brutal temper and reputation, has turned her tale into one of tragic loyalty. Some believe she haunts Virginia City not out of anger, but because it's the only place where her love and loss still live. Virginia City remains a living museum, filled with creaking boardwalks and preserved buildings. But in the quietest moments, when the sun sets and the tourists go home, some swear they still hear the wheels of a phantom carriage or catch the scent of lavender and gunpowder. Whether legend or truth, Virginia Slade's story still haunts the town that bears her name. Now please tell us which legend did you like the most. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please click the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.